This course is sponsored by COMCAST NBCUNIVERSAL. We would like to thank COMCAST NBCUNIVERSAL for the generosity in making this course possible.
The men and women who have volunteered for today's armed forces are well qualified, well disciplined, and highly motivated. They often have a strong sense of mission and purpose, the values of the military culture, the skills they practice in military service, and the lessons they learn in military teamwork bring great benefit to the companies that hire them. If military service has left some service members and veterans with injuries or disabilities, it has also left them with considerable ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability. From the citizen soldiers who serve in the National Guard and Reserve Forces, to the transitioning active duty veterans returning to civilian life, this is a pool of potentially stellar employees. My name is Carol Glazer, and I'm the president of the National Organization on Disability. In this video, I will talk about hiring veterans with disabilities and how you can integrate veterans with injuries or disabilities into the workplace. To see more in-depth materials on making your workplace a welcoming and productive place for veterans with injuries or disabilities, please see the materials in the resources link attached to this course. In the military, service members learn to operate in complex work environments, in diverse teams, and often on steep learning curves. They tend to function well in results-oriented settings, and they've often been driven by a strong sense of mission and purpose. Many veterans are looking for opportunities to make a meaningful contribution in civilian life. Service members and veterans with disabilities have also built up quite a bit of resilience, learning to triumph over adversity again and again. Most veterans with disabilities have developed exceptional strengths to compensate for their injuries and great ingenuity in coping with challenges. These veterans also often make exceptionally loyal employees with great potential as mentors for other employees. For veterans with disabilities, the effects of their disabilities are often not noticeable and don't interfere with their work. In fact, supervisory staff's responsibility with service members and veterans is the same as their responsibility with other employees: to hire people according to their job qualifications, evaluate their performance of work functions, and coordinate with their human resources department or employee assistance programs if any problems come up that interfere with performance of work relationships. You can and should create a healthy work atmosphere in which all employees feel free to ask for help, productivity supports, or accommodations. It is helpful for management and supervisory staff to understand the transition and reintegration challenges that many service members and veterans with disabilities face. But it's equally important to recognize these individuals as competent adults who can participate equally in the organizational mission and culture. In fact, many employers find that hiring veterans with disabilities is beneficial to the organization as a whole. This makes sense for a few reasons. Human beings naturally tend to build strengths to compensate for our limitations, and veterans who have overcome limitations often develop extraordinary skills in other areas, skills that can make them exceptional employees. Ingenuity is common among these strengths and skills simply because of the everyday challenges posed by the disabilities. People with disabilities are often known for their loyalty and dedication to their employers. They tend to stay longer, reducing the need for recruiting and training new employees. This also gives them a history with the organization that makes them valuable mentors to many new generations of employees. Let's talk about hiring practices. Simply put, it's illegal to discriminate against qualified job candidates because of veteran or disability status. People with disabilities do not have to disclose their conditions in job interviews or on the job. However, if they do discuss their disability with you, you must make any necessary and reasonable accommodations for their disabilities. But within that framework, what do you do? What might be different about the job interview process? What criteria do you use in hiring service members and veterans? First, remember that the fact that someone has served in the military does not mean that he or she has service-related injuries or disabilities. During the interview, it is not appropriate to ask any personal questions about military service or experiences at war, or to probe for any war-related or service-related injuries. If you're a federal contractor, you are required to invite all applicants to self-identify as an individual with a disability at both the pre-offer and post-offer phases of the application process. Additionally, you must invite all of your staff to do the same every 5 years. Also, as a federal contractor, you're required to invite applicants to self-identify as a protected veteran under VEVRA. More information on these requirements can be found on the ADA National Network website. Regardless of whether you are a federal contractor or not, you may not ask job candidates, previous employers, or third parties any questions about their specific disability, such as mental or physical health conditions, or about the history of their illness, sick leave, or hospitalizations. Though employers may invite candidates to self-identify as having a disability, the candidate is not obliged to do so. Remember, though, that if a candidate does choose to disclose a disability, you must provide reasonable accommodations, if requested, and treat the disclosure confidentially. In many cases, the accommodations that service members and veterans need will be relatively simple. Most people with military service-related injuries and effects know their own circumstances and know what will work for them. Best business practice is first to create an open work atmosphere in which it's okay for any employee who needs productivity support or accommodations to ask for them, and to educate managers and supervisors in recognizing needs that might arise among service members and veterans, and responding to requests for accommodations. If it is in the best interest of the business to support the growth and productivity of all employees, regardless of disability status. As a best practice, businesses should have a written process for requesting accommodations that is easy for all employees to find. That process should be explained to all new employees as part of the onboarding process, and supervisory staff should know how to manage that process when an employee makes a request. What if a veteran or any other employee is having challenges that seem to indicate the need for accommodations but doesn't ask for them? It may be an uncomfortable situation, but you shouldn't ask or probe for information about whether a disability is the cause, if a behavior or challenge violates your company's standards, or interferes with the employee's performance of work duties. Then it becomes your responsibility to address that behavior, whether the employee is a civilian, service member, or veteran, and whether or not it is related to a disability. But you should discuss with the employee what would help bring their work up to standards. Though the request for productivity support or accommodations should come from the employee, the process of choosing these resources should be collaborative. For guidance on specific accommodations, you can reach out to the Job Accommodation Network. You can find a link in the resources section of the course homepage. Keep in mind that the desired result for all is a more productive and successful employee. Remember that civilian employees also experience the same disabilities as some veterans do, both mental health and stress conditions that can be caused by illness or loss of a loved one, and physical disabilities caused by accidents or aging. Appropriate employer responses in providing support and productivity assistance for service members and veterans are no different from appropriate responses in addressing the challenges that other employees face. In each case, it is essential to respect both the individual employee and the boundaries of the employer's role. Many of life's decisions are difficult because they pit one problematic choice against another. When we come across a true win-win situation, we're relieved. The decision to hire service members and veterans is one of those rare win-win propositions. Everyone stands to gain, from the satisfaction of doing the right thing through the far-reaching benefits to your business and your bottom line. The decision to hire service members and veterans just makes sense. If this also sets in motion a process that reduces company-wide stress, increases the general tone of respect, and educates your employees on human responses to stress, injury, and disability, so much the better. It's worth doing, and it's worth doing right. And so many resources are available that you won't have to do it alone. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about hiring and retaining our disabled veterans. They have bravely served our country and deserve our support in return.
If you have any questions or need assistance, go to the PsychArmor website or call the PsychArmor support line at 844-779-2427. Thank you for completing this course and taking that one step further in learning about our American veterans.